The best way to start off this production module is to talk about field production. And the best way to do that is to talk about what's called video mantras, the what you want to repeat to yourself silently in your head while shooting video. This list comes directly from the video side of the National Press Photographers Association, also known as the NPPA, and was the single most important thing I've been taught by the incredible people who are a part of it. The mantras are the kinds of shots, the quality of video that you're going to want to shoot. They're phrases you will repeat to yourself over and over and over again, all on a single shoot. And the mantras go like this: super wide, wide, medium, tight, super tight, capture the moment, action reaction, cutaways, what do I have, what do I need, and last shot, next shot. Again, you'll repeat this list countless times on a shoot, and when you do, you'll always have enough video for your news package because you were thinking about what you need before you get back in the car. And the magic is you'll also have video that naturally cuts together. So with that, let's break down each of these one by one. The first 5 are pretty self-explanatory, but it does help to see them. So super wide. Invest as much effort as you can to getting super wide shots because they cut beautifully with medium and tight shots. The easiest way to get them by far is with an action camera. If you're outside, all you have to do is, frankly, point the camera. If you're inside, it helps to have your back right up against the corner of a room so most of the room can fit in the frame. This is possible because by having your back in the corner, you're automatically shooting the room at an angle, at a diagonal. And in many cases, I found that it helps to clamp the action camera to something that's tall, or that can become tall, like an adjustable light stand or even tripod. Also, too, keep in mind, your camera's tripod can work here. If it comes with one of those pan and tilt arms, just crank that all the way up like you see here, and that can be a really good tripod to clamp an action camera to. So now, wide shots. The first piece of advice here can also be used to get super wide shots, as we just talked about. But this time, let's say that you don't have an action camera. In fact, all you have is maybe your regular camera or even your smartphone. The easiest way to add depth to any shot is to move around until there's something in the foreground. This will visually create depth in the room. This can be the side of a wall or some other large object. So now, medium shots. These are the easiest to get and by default what most people automatically shoot because they're easy to get. Basically, you just hit record. The issue is that they can also be boring because people typically already see the world through the perspective of medium shots. It's rare that they see the world through wide shots or super wide shots, and is just as rare that they see the world through tight shots and even super tight shots. So now let's start talking about those. Tight shots. These are fun because they immediately show the viewer what it is that you want them to focus on. You've zoomed in, you've pulled your focus on something, and that something is what you want them to be interested in. You've also probably shown them the world in a way that they've never seen before, because the best tight shots require you to actually walk right up to what you're shooting and get a lot closer than humans usually do. The same goes for super tight shots. This involves you zooming in as far as you can while still being able to pull a sharp focus. Different cameras and naturally different lenses will get you different results. A lot of times I find myself using my smartphone to get super tight shots because my phone is tiny compared to any of my main cameras and therefore can physically go places these bigger cameras simply can't. So now let's round this off by talking about video sequencing. And that is that all these 5 kinds of shots are summarized in the business as video sequencing. So turning that into a sentence, you'll hear pros critique the work of beginners by saying that they need to sequence their shots, meaning edit them in an order that makes sense. It's also the pro way of telling a person that they need to start shooting a variety of shots. And that variety is made up, of course, of these 5 shots. Moving on. There are only 2 reasons why you should ever interrupt yourself getting these 5 shots. And that's if you're capturing the moment or getting action and or reaction. Typically, capturing the moment involves people who are doing something that'll never happen again, like firefighters fighting a house fire, like you're looking at right now. On this particular shoot, if it made noise, I shot it. If I saw action, I shot it. If there was the opportunity to turn the camera around away from the action and get some reaction shots, like at this hockey game when a big play is about to be made, I do it. In this particular story, the home team missed the play. A great example of a moment is when mothers are reunited with their military sons or daughters. That homecoming moment only comes once. You keep your ears open, listening for when other people just simply think the military might be getting off the plane. Then you pick a mom, put a lav on her, start recording, and wait. Now, you may have to run, keep this in mind, because if mom even thinks that her son or daughter is going to turn the corner and walk down the terminal, she's going to bolt. And you have to follow her. That whole moment, that reuniting, is going to make it into the piece because, of course, it's the heart of the entire piece. You'll also cover kids at school who are called into a classroom to unwrap an oversized present that has one of their parents inside.
Is that really Dad? Holy crap!
These are all moments. If you miss them, you miss them. And that means you probably missed the story. So hit record and only stop when the moment is well over. The emotional moments are obviously the best because they're going to make the audience feel something. The ones where people are doing something mechanical or not as emotionally interesting, they're still worth getting, but it's okay if you miss one here and there. And in fact, you will. When following someone around, you're going to naturally miss moments because you're adjusting the camera, pulling the focus, putting yourself in a better position to get some future moments. And all of that's okay. It's a part of the process. But on that same tape, from that same story, I've got moments to prove that the entire time I was working hard. And so will you. Now let's talk about action-reaction. This is my favorite one to talk about because if all you ever shot, if the only mantra you ever paid attention to was action-reaction, that would actually be all you would ever need for a news package and in fact any news story throughout your entire career. The issue is that most stories don't have a whole lot of action-reaction. So when it does present itself, it's a gift. That's because in terms of the story you're shooting, action-reaction is basically just another way of saying cause and effect. It's like a tennis match or a volleyball tournament. One moment you're concentrating on person A, then you turn around and you film person B reacting to what person A is doing. The easiest, most kinetic example of this is obviously war zone videography. Many of those professionals just film action-reaction and naturally too. They're facing this way, then they'll turn around and face that way. Come back here, and this is all they're doing all day, every day. And this all brings us to cutaways, something that is probably the exact opposite of what we've been talking about. All a cutaway is a video that is germane to your topic, but something that you just haven't shot yet because you were getting sequenced video or filming an interview or moments or action-reaction. You were getting all the other important stuff. And a cutaway can simply be anything, and as we'll get into, a lot of times isn't moving, so it's not going anywhere and is part of the reason why you haven't got it yet. A cutaway can be a picture, an award, an establishing shot of the place you're doing the interview. I like to think of cutaways, as I just said, like things that don't move. This helps me organize a shoot because I want to focus on the things that do move, the things that are going to go away, like the moments that are only going to happen once. The picture, the award, the house itself, they're not going to move, so I shoot them last on my way out. And to go just a little bit deeper, cutaways do exactly what their name implies. They give you a shot to cut away to in case you don't have enough sequenceable video or you've just run out of video in general, which some stories, no matter how good you are, that's going to happen. It's a function of the story, not you as a storyteller. What's going to prove your ability and your advanced ability as a storyteller is working your way out of that. And mantras here is a great way to do that because, again, you're thinking about that while you're on site and not wishing you had something when you get to the edit bay. There's two last mantras, and these mantras are more like mantra questions. And the answers that you're going to have to them will remind you to go back and shoot any of the previous kinds of shots that you might have missed. It's kind of a catch-all. And the first one is, what do I have? What do I need? So on my shoot, I'm thinking super wide, wide, medium, tight, super tight, capture the moment, action, reaction, cutaways. What do I have? What do I need? If I've shot all that other stuff, I'm probably in a really good position. If I haven't, I might say, well, I guess I don't have a whole lot of tight shots because I've been following all of these great moments, so perhaps I need to go in and get 3 or 4 tight shots. This is simply a way of reviewing in your mind everything you've shot. And maybe you have a lot of wides and mediums, but again, as like was my situation, you don't have many tights. So now you know to actually go out and get some tight shots. Maybe you started your shoot filming some great action, but don't have a whole lot of reaction. Now you know to go and get that. This could happen at sporting events, or at rallies, or even parades. You're so focused on the game, or the show, or the entertainment that you haven't had a whole lot of time to think about, well, let's turn the camera around and get some of the audience and what they think or may just naturally be reacting to on site. Now, the last mantra is last shot, next shot. So kind of similar to what we just talked about. This one, though, it's neat because it forces you to ask yourself, what kind of shot did I just shoot? And once I remember that, I'll now ask myself what a good complementary shot would be as that next shot. So for example, let's say I just shot a medium shot. In this case, the best kind of next shot would be either a tight shot or a super tight shot. Now, if you said that you could also do a wide shot or super wide, you were absolutely correct. The reason why I just picked tight shots and super tight shots is because those are by far the least shot by beginners. And of course, they're the most important and interesting because of how close they are and the detail and texture they reveal. But again, that too is also why they're not shot that often. It's because it takes extra effort to do. One, you have to remember to do it, you have to walk up to it, and of course, like all the other video, you have to be white balanced and still in focus. Something else magical that the last shot, next shot mantra does is it organizes your tape, meaning that sometimes you can edit the shots into your timeline from the same order they are on your memory card. So if your last shot was a medium shot and you shot a tighter or wide and then you thought, cool, I got a tighter or wide, what do I need? Maybe a super wide or a medium shot. And you can see how the sequencing can build on itself. Now, you never want to mortgage not capturing a moment or missing action reaction because you're trying to specifically and neatly organize your tape. Nobody has a 100% organized tape. It's just when you're on breaking news, doing some of that can help you file much, much quicker. When you're on a tight deadline, it can be a gift that you've given to yourself, even if all you did was you used that technique just for the cutaways that don't move. And again, obviously, your goal here is not necessarily to have a highly organized tape, but it can help when covering both breaking news and, of course, spot news. But again, feel free to drop everything to cover a moment that just simply randomly pops up because, as we all know, that moment will never come again. Well, that's it for mantras. These will serve you well because if you start shooting video like this, your tape will look a lot different and, believe me, much, much, much more professional than your peers. It'll also be better than some people who've been in the business longer but who aren't putting in the amount of effort and care that you are. So to further illustrate how to shoot sequenced video, the next two links are to some how-to videos of me getting basic video sequencing. The first video is the shortest and is of me covering a student working on his laptop. The reason I did this is because filming somebody working on a computer is something that you will shoot multiple times a week on the job. So it's actually, as boring as it is, it's a very practical example. The second video is a bit more fun. It's of me filming my friend as she cooks dinner. I have several cameras set up on this one so you can see how I move around the kitchen and dance around her. Students have given me great feedback on this specific video, saying they appreciate it because the video is basically unedited and shows the entire process of me filming from start to finish. They also said it was like they were job shadowing me, and is why I've included job shadow in the actual title. I'll see you there.